She was introduced to many of us on season 11 of RuPaul's Drag Race, where she showed being on point can lead you to the finale. She's sorry, not sorry about having one of the most talked about lip syncs in history, and she uses her judging hat as Queen of the North in Canada. Her name is Brooke Lynn Hytes, and she's about to be exposed. Hey, hey, Brooklyn.
Hey, hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm
Oh,
good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing really well. Just here in my apartment, dressing as a woman. 'Cause that's what we 20. I'm feeling good though. It's a good day.
It's actually a very good day. The past few
It's a.
days, I feel like I've been on my seat, not sleeping, and now finally I feel like I might be able to get some sleep.
I know. Seriously, I've been taking Ambien, thank God, to go to bed because I wouldn't have been able to otherwise. But it's definitely been a few days. It's been an interesting couple days, and yeah, I feel good today. I cautiously optimistic because nothing has been called yet, but I think we're
Hmm.
doing okay.
I do too. And let me ask you also about your health. How are you doing COVID wise? Because I know that you did get corona. What was your experience with that, and how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. I was very lucky. I got a pretty mild case, I think. It was very like flu-like symptoms. I felt kind of that foggy flu feeling you feel in your head for like 2 weeks, and then I had a bit of a fever. And besides that, I lost my taste of smell and or my sense of smell and taste for like a week. So it wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. I would not recommend, but it wasn't as bad as some other people have gotten it. So I'm pretty lucky.
Well, good that you're better. Glad that you're here. And it's time to crack open this bottle and get right into it. So,
All right,
you were born and raised in Toronto, Ontario?
I was correct.
What was little Brooklyn like?
Oh, the gayest. I was so gay. I was that little kid you look at, you're like, they're gay. Like you just know. I was everything feminine. I love dolls, all of that stuff. I had a blanket I wore on my head as a wig because I just wanted like long, beautiful hair. So all of that stuff. So I was a very like gay little flamboyant kid, I would say.
So, your little gay, flamboyant kid, when do you think you first remember actually liking somebody of the same sex?
Oh, I don't even. I honestly can't pinpoint it. Like I've always just like liked boys and like flirted with boys ever since I was like little. Like it's something that's always been there. But I can't pinpoint an exact moment in my life when it happened. But it was kind of just something that was always there.
Well, let me ask you one thing that was it always there, your love for dance? Because I know that you got into, was it, you got into ballet at the age of what, 15 ish?
About 15, yeah. Um, yeah, I always liked to dance, but like I never like really pursued it until quite late in life. I grew up kind of in like a Christian conservative environment, so that wasn't exactly something that was like super acceptable. But I always definitely like whenever I was at a wedding that had dancing, which was a very big deal. I was always like on the dance floor dancing the whole time and having a good time, and I could definitely always move, but like I just didn't really have any formal training.
Well, the formal training comes, and into my research into you, I was like, Jesus, you start this at 15, and then when you end up going to what, South Africa? And you're in Cape Town, South Africa, and you're at a school there.
Well, I wasn't at a school there. I trained at the National Ballet School of Canada from the age of 15 to probably about 2019. I can't remember. But I was there for a period of 5 years, my three last high school years, and then 2 extra years of training because I started so late. And then, yeah, I got a job. I went to actually, after that school, I went to Hamburg to study at the John Neumeier Hamburg Ballet School, which was another incredible school. And I was there for like 2 weeks, and then I got this random call from South Africa offering me a job. And I like in my head, I didn't because like school, I didn't, I wasn't a scholar. I didn't do well in school. I didn't pay attention. So when someone was like, "Hey, do you want to come to South Africa?" I was like, "There's a South Africa?" I didn't know. Like I just didn't like think about that. Like I didn't pay attention, and I probably never learned about it either in school. And I was like, sure, why not? So I went to South Africa. I was there for 2 years, and it's one of my favorite, most beautiful places on earth. I go back every year to visit one of my friends from the ballet company who became one of my best friends. And yeah, it's incredible there.
What's the scene like there for a gay male? Were you an out gay male at the time?
I was, yes. Actually, South Africa legalized gay marriage probably like 11, 12 years ago.
Wow.
So, I mean, there is definitely a scene there. It's not a super huge flamboyant scene, but there is a scene and there is a presence. I mean, it's a beautiful country, but it is definitely not without its problems with just the aftershock of everything that happened with apartheid. And there's still a lot of very noticeable racism going on there. And the country is very much in turmoil from that. And there is definitely some homophobia as well. But I mean, in terms of like the beauty of the place, it was just one of my favorite places to go, just because the natural beauty of it. And I found the people quite warm and inviting.
That's nice. And you end up coming back to the US, and let me get into this because I'm very curious how you made the switch from doing ballet into drag. Like, what made you want to stop that and then go into putting on this beautiful mug that you have today?
Oh, thank you. Well, I actually started doing drag when I was still in Toronto. Before I went to South Africa, I held like a year and a half, very amateur, like talent night type of thing. And then when I left Toronto, I kind of stopped doing drag for probably about 2.5 years. And then there was a company called Ballet Trocadero that I always wanted to be a part of. That was like one of like my goals. I'd seen a DVD of them in ballet school, and they were an all-male ballet company that did the male and the female roles. And I don't know, just with me and my background and just loving everything feminine, it was just like I saw that and I was instantly like, oh, that's what I want to do. Like, if I'm going to be a dancer, I want to do that. So I auditioned for the company when I was still living in Toronto, and they said, unfortunately, you don't have enough work experience to get a U.S. visa, so we really like you, we're really, really interested in you, but please go away and get a professional job and kind of build up your resume, and that way it will be easier to apply for a work visa for you. So I went to South Africa, I did just that, I built up my resume, and then after a couple of years, I was like, oh, okay, hi, I'm ready. Can I come now? So I applied for my work visa, I got the work visa, and the rest is kind of history. So it's always kind of where I was destined to end up.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of destined to end up, you end up taking it full hardcore. You get into the pageant scene of the drag atmosphere. You end up winning multiple titles, Miss Continental. Like, you have all this stuff under your belt. What was the pageant world like?
I liked it because I related to it, because it was like the ballet world. It kind of like there was like a strict set of rules, and like it was kind of familiar to me. Like, it was just something I fit into very easily with my drag, the way I carried myself and stuff. It was just something that I kind of lended myself very easily to. And it was after about, I think I was with Ballet Trocadero for about 4 years, and I was just doing drag really with them. I wasn't performing on my own, but I was so tired and just like my body hurt. And I was really falling out of love with ballet. So I was like, what do I still like about this? I was like, I still love the drag aspect. I just don't love the ballet aspect of it. So that's when I decided to move back to Toronto from New York, which was where Ballet Trocadero was based. And yeah, I moved back to Toronto, and I was like, I'm going to become a full-time drag queen. And at that time, like, RuPaul's Drag Race was kind of in its early days, and still one of the biggest ways to get noticed and get bookings as a queen was to do pageants. So that's what I started doing. I just started doing all the pageants I could, and I had a kind of a unique talent with being able to dance on point and all that stuff. So off I went.
Off you went, and
off I trotted.
Off you trotted, and shortly after, or right before you were on Drag Race, I ended up seeing you on a little television show called Ozzy and Jack's World Detour, where you were in Nashville and you were performing, and Kelly Osbourne was there, and Jack Osbourne, and Ozzy Osbourne. What was that experience like? Because that must have been crazy to be in the same presence of like somebody that's completely off the wall.
They were lovely. I mean, yeah, so after I was in Toronto for 4 years doing drag, and then I got a job offer down in Nashville, Tennessee, which was so random. But they were willing to like sponsor me for a work visa to get back into the States. And my long-term goal was to be on Drag Race. So I was like, this is perfect. I'll just do it. I had no intention of ever living in Nashville in my life. I didn't even like, it wasn't even on my radar as a place. But I moved down there. I got a great job at Play Dance Bar, which is this amazing drag club they have down there. And I was there for I was with them for 4 years, and I learned so much, and it was incredible. And because Nashville is kind of, we call it Nash Vegas. It's like the Vegas of the South, if you will, a little bit. And so we always get people passing through there, and this Play is like the only big dance club in the entire place. And it's like a complex. There's a dance club, there's a bar, and there's a restaurant. A lot of people film there. So Jack and Ozzy and Kelly filmed there for their show, and it was really nice to meet them. It was really fun. They were very sweet. Ozzy didn't know what the fuck was going on, but he was very nice. And Kelly is obviously just lovely. I'd met her, I think, once before somewhere, and Jack was really nice too. So it was a very cool experience. We get a lot of celebrities through Play Dance Bar.
That's so cool and so nice. And he also gave your little first taste of the television screen. And then 1 year later, it's RuPaul's Drag Race. It's 2019. You're announced as a contestant of season 11. Where were you when you got that phone call?
I was in my apartment in Nashville. And I mean, there's just been like so much speculation. And I'm such a speculator. I'm one of those people who will like get on the phone with all my close friends and just speculate things for hours on end. So like I was like, am I not? Like I knew I was really close. I'd been really close the year before, and I was like, is this the year? So I got my my call, and I just remember like screaming. I just like hung up the phone and like screamed, and then yeah, it was amazing. But then it sucks because you can't tell anybody. You're just like, ah. Oh, nothing's out of the ordinary. It was very weird. It was a very it was exciting, but and then it's exciting because it's happened, but then you're like, oh fuck, now I actually have to go film it, and like all the stress comes from like, oh my god, like this is actually happening. Like I wanted this to happen for so long, and now it is, and now it's just a lot of things happen. It's a very stressful, intense period.
You walk into this workroom, you're the queen of the North.
Never fear. The Queen of the North is here. Is she international?
What was your expectation walking in? And did you expect in those first moments of walking through the door that you would be in the final?
I don't know. I like the thing about Drag Race is nothing can really prepare you for it. Like I had heard so much. I've been friends and had met and worked with a lot of Ru girls before being on the show, and like they always give you like little tidbits and like talk about the show, but nothing can really physically and emotionally prepare you for actually being there and going through it. You just have to do it, is the thing. So I think I just went in there with an open mind, and I felt as prepared as I could have been at the time for where I was with my drag. I felt like I had kind of prepared everything I could have. And then the scary thing is you get there and you just don't know what's going to happen from week to week. Like you have no control over so many things because they just kind of tell you as it goes, and you're like, you just have to think on the fly really quickly. I think I was definitely hopeful that I would have been in the top, and I felt confident about what I had brought. So yeah, I felt pretty good, but I'm a very cautious person. I never like to talk myself up and be like, yeah, I'm the best. I'm going to, that's just not my gig. So I just kind of was there to do the best I could and keep quiet, and I tried not to talk a big game the whole time and all that stuff. So.
I mean, you may not have talked a big game, but you ended up smooching a little bit of a game because actually it's weird to me that you and Vanjie were the first like romance ever on a season of Drag Race. You would think that if there's so many gay people in one room, at least something would have happened 10 seasons before at some point.
Right. I mean, right? But I guess everyone else was too focused on actually winning the competition. We were just there to
have a good time. Brooke Lynn and Vanjie are kissing in Untucked. What?
No, that was always the talk of the season. It was Brangie. Did you feel after you left the show and, you're potentially in a relationship with Vanjie that you had to hold on to that for the show when it's shown a year after? Because if I'm correct, which I may be incorrect, but you guys had to kind of keep putting it on because you guys weren't together in between the time that the show was finished and then to the time it aired, right?
Well, we started like dating on the show, but we actually kept like dating for about 3 months after we finished rapping. But yeah, we weren't, by the time the show actually premiered, we were no longer dating. So, and obviously we couldn't really say that because, yeah, it was weird. It was, and I definitely think we both felt a little bit of pressure to like keep it on, and that might have been one of the things in the demise for us. I mean, in the moment, it was really great because like it was just having this nice person there that like it was something separate from the show. We kind of just like supported each other and were there for each other, and it was really really nice having that on the show because it is a very hard thing to go through. It's a great thing, but it's very hard. So having him there was wonderful, and then it was just hard afterwards. It just kind of, as we got back to our normal lives and we weren't in this bubble anymore, it just wasn't quite working. Which is fine, but we're such great friends now. I mean, that's all I really cared about in the end. He's someone I love very dearly and someone I love being around, and just someone, no matter what, I wanted to make sure I had in my life still. So I'm glad I can still say that.
But that was a really cool thing too that I noticed, that even after, you guys announced that you guys were not together after the show had ended, you guys were very supportive of each other. I always see you guys in the comments, always liking each other, like tweets, everything. You guys always seem to be on such a great level, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
When it comes to Jose, let me ask you this question. Is Jose as loud and eccentric as a normal person in a relationship compared to Vanjie?
He's just loud. He is a loud personality all the time. I mean, like that Vanjie thing he puts on, and like that's just him naturally. Like that happens. He's like that when he's Jose too. Like he has his quiet moments for sure, but he's just I don't understand the things that come out of his mouth or how he thinks of them, and like it's just crazy. And I'm so opposite. I'm just so quiet, and I'm just sitting there looking at him like, what the fuck is going on? Where did that come from? But he's just one of those person. He's a star. Like he himself, just by himself, is just a star. Like you can just sit there and watch him for an hour, read the phone book, and it's amazing.
Well, speaking of stars, your star was shining throughout the season. You end up proving week after week that you can turn a look. You're doing great in all of these challenges, and then something ends up happening. It's something called the Snatch Game. And you end up taking on the role of Miss Celine Dion.
Are we ready? Yes. Shall we go for it? Let's do it. Come on. Energy.
Now, let me ask you a question. When you chose Celine, did you expect to do extremely well? Like, what was the vibe in the room when you did Snatch Game, and did you have any other choices that you were wanting to do?
Well, I originally wanted to do Sarah Huckabee Sanders, but Nina had just done her in the musical, so I couldn't really do that. And I had another choice. I don't even remember what it was actually now, but there was another one that I wanted to do, but for some reason I wasn't allowed to do it because of copyright or something. So Celine was definitely not my first choice. I definitely did not feel confident doing it. I just knew like this was not going to be my moment, and I just had one of those like I just felt like a dark cloud coming down over me, and I definitely got on my head, and it wasn't my finest moment. But you know what? At the end of the day, looking back at it, it's all about a journey, and I had that was my best episode.
That was beyond your best episode, because let me just tell you, I feel like you took the drive and the upset of doing bad in Snatch Game, and you were like, you know what? I'm going to turn this completely around on the runway. You end up having your reveal of the one wig to the other wig. It was like better than the Roxy Andrews scare. So let me ask you, what'd you say?
That's what inspired it.
Yeah? It was Miss Roxy?
Yeah. Inspired by Roxy Andrews, and I was like, how can I kind of do this but make it different? And that's what I came up with.
You made it so different, because one thing with girls when they do wig reveals is like you expect it to come, but that whole over and just taking in one full swoop was like, wow. When you are not successful in your career, like if you have a moment where you feel like you have a really bad show, or you feel like you're being judged like harshly, do you take that energy and turn it into a positive like you did in that episode?
Sometimes, I mean, I can get very down on myself and like but eventually I climb out of my hole and I kind of am able to see the positive and the good things around me, but it definitely can take me minutes sometimes for sure. But I think it's just so important. There's always a positive to look at, no matter what you're going through. There's always something you can like grasp to and like find that makes it a little bit better. But yeah, definitely in that moment, I just remember being like, well, I don't have a choice. I got to turn it out on the runway. I mean, I had done fairly well before that, and now it was like crash and burn, and I was like, okay, I have to turn this around, and thank God I could.
Thank God you did. And then you get into the bottom two with Miss Evie Oddly. Your song is Sorry Not Sorry. Oh, I remember being at a bar. I'm pretty sure I was at Mickey's. I think I was in Mickey's in WeHo. And literally that came on, and just the reaction of everybody was insane. It was such a phenomenal lip sync. Once one of you turned it out, the other one turned it out. Did you know in the moment how great that lip sync would be?
I did, yeah. I knew it was going to be a moment just from the reaction on set and the reaction of the judges and everybody. Like, I had a feeling. Like, it was like from my runway and then into that. And everyone thought I was safe from my runway. They're like, oh, you've redeemed yourself. You're not going to be in the bottom. And I was like, pretty sure I am. But I felt so comfortable because I lip synced 5 nights a week, 4 songs a night at Play for the last 4 years, and Sorry Not Sorry, I knew that Sorry Not Sorry was a song, and that's a song I used to do every weekend. So I was like, I'm fine. Like, if I have to, I'll do it. Of course, I was against the one person I was really afraid to lip sync against on the show, but just because of her sheer physical ability and because she's an amazing performer. Evie can do some crazy shit, and I just knew for some reason I was gonna have to lip sync against her because I knew I was a dancer and she was all bad, and I was like, somehow we're gonna end up together. I just know it. So I was like, fuck, of course it's her. Like it could have been anybody else, but it had to be her. But we both just put on a really good show, I thought. And I mean, afterwards, we were just both so happy. And even honestly, before they called it, I just had a feeling. I was like, I think we're both gonna be safe.
Well, you were both safe. The lip sync was phenomenal. You end up going through. Another lip sync ends up happening that was not phenomenal. And I need to know, when you were on stage and there was a no scrubs lip sync with Miss Silky Nutmeg Ganache and Miss Nina West.
Oh.
What was this vibe in the room like when you saw this going down in front of you?
Well, first of all, that's a horrible song to lip sync to.
It's also a horrible song to do karaoke to, because I've made the mistake of doing that and it never ends.
It never ends. It's the same thing over and over again. It doesn't go anywhere. Like, it's a great song. It's like a fun bop if you're in the car or whatever, but like, it's not, when you're lip syncing for your life, it's not the one you want to lip sync to, for me personally. It was hard because like Silky was like, everything was like falling apart. Her heel fell apart, but she was like going for it. And then Nina was kind of just like literally, I don't think she left like the square space she was in the whole time. She was just kind of like doing the drunk aunt at a wedding, bopping around, but she was probably performing it better. But she never turned around, so I couldn't really see what she was doing. So it was hard. It was a hard one. And then Rue's reaction, I was like, oh shit, are they both going? Like, I kind of felt they might both go. I didn't know. It was tense. Like, I could have seen Nina going. I could have seen Silky going. Like, I could have seen either one of them going at that point. It was just very, like, tense. And I felt really bad because I felt like I had put Silky in this position because I had given her Soju, who she was so upset about. But it was just like, so I was feeling really guilty. But it is what it is. And I mean, it definitely was not the best lip sync of the season. I will say that.
You end up getting into this finale. You end up getting ready. You're in the top 4. Let me ask you a question. Walking into the finale, how were you feeling? You've now seen people's reactions of you on the television. You've seen the fans come to you. You now can actually be in this environment. How did you feel walking into the finale, and how was the fan reaction to you leading up to the finale?
It was great. I have no complaints. I mean, I had a really nice run on the show. It was very stressful, obviously, because it's like the finale, and it's like you do the show, and then you don't know what the final result is, so then you feel like you're stuck in this like competition for a year, which you kind of are, or however long it takes. So you're like, like, what's gonna happen? I still have another. It's not done. I still have another thing to do, and I just remember after my lip sync with Silky when I moved on to the final round. I just remember walking off stage from that first lip sync and literally just jumping up and down because I was like, no matter what, it is over. Like, I still have to lip sync against Evie. That's fine. I honestly did not care about winning at that point. I just cared. I wanted to be top 2. Mm-hmm. And I cared about getting as far as I possibly could. Like, if I won, great. If I didn't win, that's fine. I just, like, just the sheer fact that this, like, thing that had been hanging over me that I didn't know was done yet was, like, done. It was just such a nice feeling. And, like, my mom was there and my best friend was there. And I just finally felt like, like, it was just this huge release for me. It was really nice. And it was a really fun night. I honestly like that last lip sync, I was just having fun. I was having a good time doing my thing.
Well, before even the lip syncs, you walked the red carpet, and you and I had an interview together, and your mood and your positivity was great. So obviously that ended up translating into the finale.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, look at your suit.
No, look
Who
at
cares
you.
about me? Look at you. You look fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. So do you.
You get into the top 4. One fan wanted to know, why wasn't the top as close your season? Or was it and we just didn't see it?
Why were they not as close?
Compared to other seasons.
I think we had a very tumultuous season. Just like there was a lot of fighting and stuff, and like we're all good now, and we aren't like super duper duper close. Like we're not besties, but I mean, I have nothing but love for any of them. It was just one of those weird things where like Silky and Evie and Akira kind of became this little like group, and then Evie kind of floated around, and I kind of floated around, and we just weren't all like super super duper besties. And I don't know why that is. It just is. But it's also like we get thrown together in this environment, this very competitive environment, and this whole thing. And then people are like, well, why aren't you best friends? I'm like, we're fine. We're friends, but I'm very happy to see them whenever I do see them. Like, I love cheering them on. I love seeing all the cool shit they're doing. Do we talk on the phone every day? No. Like, are we each other's BFFs always? Like, no. But, like, we're all cool and we're all good. And I love seeing them, but it's okay not to be like best friends with the top 4. Like we're still friends and we still love each other and support each other, but we're not like the best of friends all the time. Like,
and I think that's the thing
sense?
that a lot of fans forget sometimes. Like they want to push you in any direction, like, you know, to be the best friends or to have drama with somebody, or you did this or you did that. It's like they feel like they have a little bit of control over your life.
There's literally no drama, like none at all. Like it's just like we see each other, we have a good time when we kiki, and then we don't talk for a couple months, and then we see each other again, and like it's just one of those things. Like that's how it goes with like so many of my friends. And I am personally not the type of person. I have so many like good friends and people I love and value in my life that I do not talk to for months on end. I don't need to talk to people every day. I'm not that girl. So that's kind of how it is for me. But yeah, I fucking love them. I mean, we had a really good time, and we had a very iconic, fun season because of all the characters on there. So
exactly, and the iconic season, and you end up having so many iconic moments in it. And then all of a sudden, you were announced as a judge on Canada's Drag Race. Let me ask you a question. How did that even come to be? And did you feel any pressure accepting the role of judging when you had just been a queen, taking on a completely different role?
How did it come to be? I don't know. I guess they were thinking about it for a while, and it was just kind of something that was brewing. I remember after we had filmed season 11, I was in LA, and I got into the World of Wonder offices, and we were talking about like me doing a WoW Plus Presents show or something, and I was in the boardroom with all the execs, and I was like, and I remember we were talking, and I was like, you know what I would really love, like somewhere down the pipeline, if there was a Canada's Drag Race, and I could like be a part of it somehow, and like just kind of like talking. They were like, it's a great idea. Meanwhile, they already knew it was going to happen. I didn't know that yet. So cut to probably, it was around the time of the finale, like right after or right before. I think it was right after. It was kind of like perfect timing because I was like, well, I lost. Like, I guess I'm going to go back and do All-Stars. There's always that thing when like the show's over for real, and you're like, shit, like, what am I going to do now? Like, how am I going to keep myself relevant? And I remember, and then my agent called me and was like, so, they are doing Canada's Drag Race and they want you to be a judge. And I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I get my own spin-off of the show. Like, it was insane. It really, I still can't believe it. And I absolutely felt a lot of pressure doing it. I mean, I'm the first queen. I was talking to Trixie about this, and she's like, you realize the only other person who's ever had your job is Rupaul. And I was like, true story. So I felt a lot of pressure, and it was very cool, though. I was really grateful and glad that I got chosen and that I was Canadian. I've never been more Canadian than that moment.
The difference between the Canadian version and the US version is that you guys didn't have a set host. Was there ever talks of having a set host, or was it always the plan to just have you three as judges and kind of a guest co-host?
I don't know, honestly. Like, it was introduced to me that way. So I don't know if before me there were talks of like having one person do it, but it was introduced to me as it's going to be the three of you together.
Mm-hmm. And the three of you worked really well off each other. However, the fans did not like a lot of the judging critiques, and they felt like a lot of you were too harsh.
I hear you, girl. Everyone gets the same amount of time. Use it better, maybe.
I mean, some of these children watching this, first of all, children, thinking we were too harsh. During quarantine, I've gone back and watched old seasons of Drag Race, and mama, you think we were harsh. Like, trust me, we were lovely. We were lovely. And again, the thing with a show like Drag Race is a lot more gets said than what you see. We have a short amount of time to squeeze everything into. So a lot of things get cut. I know I personally said a lot of positive things to the girls, a lot of encouraging things. It wasn't all negative. I can't control what actually gets shown. So it is what it is. But I mean, I was there to judge and give my opinion and do these girls the courtesy of telling them exactly what I thought in hopes of helping them a little bit and making them improve. And that's what I did. So I didn't see us being particularly harsh. It's also a competition, and when you sign up for the competition, you sign up to be judged by the people who are there to judge you. So it's one of those things. Like, I think a lot of people just don't know how to take criticism, maybe. And a lot of people want to rally behind their faves, which I get and which I love. Like, there's no fan base like the Drag Race fan base. Like, they're so, like, if they love you, and they support you, and they go hard for you. But the downside of that is if you cross the girl they love or whatever, then you're the worst person ever, and then they come for you really hard. And that's unfortunate, I think, because I just wish people could see it. Not that when I say I hate your outfit, or I don't like your outfit, or I don't like this, I'm not saying you are a terrible person and you are garbage. I'm literally saying I don't like what you're wearing right now, and that's okay because I'm allowed to say that because that's my job here.
Yeah. And one of the main judges, of course, that got the most flack and, negative energy was Jeffrey Borey Chapman. And there were, petitions that went around online to take him off. He ended up getting off of social media to end up helping with his own sanity. What do you think the disconnect was between him and the fans? Do you think that there was an issue or a problem, or what do you think it was that was the big disconnect?
I think because we were the first spin-off of the show, we automatically, all of us kind of had targets on our back. Like, because we were not Rue and Michelle and Carson and Ross, like, automatically people wanted to challenge what we were saying. And what does Brooke Lynn know? She didn't even win her season. Who is this person coming in? He doesn't know anything about drag. And I mean, it was just really disheartening to see, especially like the petitions. Because there was like a change.org petition I saw. And I was like, that's for like bringing justice for Breonna Taylor and all of these, like, and now you're using it to, like, get a black man taken out of his job. And I just kind of thought, like, and there is definitely racism within the Drag Race fandom, and I just thought it really brought it to life, and people were just being so mean and evil. And I mean, listen, you're allowed to not like somebody. You're allowed to not like a judge or not agree with somebody. What I don't believe you are allowed to do is to then at that person or DM that person or go on that person's social media and tell them how horrible you think they are. That does nobody any good. Like, if you have an opinion about someone, it's fine. DM your friends, keep it to yourself. You can even, like, write it on your social media. Just don't at the person. Don't go to them directly. Like, be like, hey, I hate you. Just want to let you know you should kill yourself. In case you didn't know. It's horrible. What a horrible, horrible thing to do to somebody. You know? Like, and so I really, really felt for him. But, I mean, Jeffrey handled things with a lot of grace and a lot of dignity and a lot of poise, as he always does. So I was like, good for you, girl. I don't know if I would have been in the same boat had I gotten the same amount of hate that you did. And I definitely got some criticism myself. And there was a good, like, 3-week period where I kind of had to step back into my bubble. You know, like, I kind of limited who could comment on my social media and stuff like that, because I was like, for my own mental health, just with everything that was going on in the world, Corona, the election, and now this on top of it, like, I just had to take a minute and be like, I'm going to protect myself a little bit, and because this is not putting me in a good spot. And it really doesn't. It really, having all this negativity, especially right now in the world with everything that's going on, it's hard. And it's really hard to take that on a daily basis, and it just creates a lot of anxiety. So it's something I just kind of did to protect myself, and I'm very glad I did it. And it was a big learning curve, and also it really helped me grow a thicker skin, because it kind of showed me that, because I was very lucky on my season, I didn't get a lot of negativity from the fans in that way, and so this was the first time I was really kind of dealing with this negativity from people. So it was a big learning curve for me, and it definitely kind of helped me grow a thicker skin and just be able to laugh at it all a little bit more. The key to it is you just have to laugh at it. Whenever you see these comments, you just have to be like, this motherfucker actually took the time to come on here and say, like, whatever they said. Like, the key really is you just gotta laugh at it. And so that was a great life lesson for me.
One contestant that was on your show that had a lot of fanfare and a lot of people loved was Miss Jimbo. Now, let me ask you about Jimbo, because the world was shocked when Jimbo was eliminated. And do you think from you being on the panel and you judging and having other judges around you, what do you think it was about Jimbo that either didn't click with you all or that you were not feeling in those moments when he ended up going home? Was there anything like big or something out there? Because I spoke to Jimbo, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, and Jimbo basically was like, I just feel like they didn't understand me.
And so, the judges didn't get it, but the audience did.
He was like, I feel like in the end, I have a totally different version of drag than what a lot of people are used to, and I don't think that they understood me. Do you think that you understood Jimbo?
Did I understand Jimbo? Did any of us understand Jimbo? Do any of us understand Jimbo is the question. No, I don't think we do. And I love that. I mean, and that was another thing. People were like, why are you so mean to Jimbo? And I was like, where was I mean to Jimbo ever? Like, but Jimbo is a perfect example of the fact that you don't have to win the show to win the show. Like, as long as you get people on your side and the people love you, like, you're going to be just fine. And he was amazing. Like, week after week, we never knew when he was going to come out with. He had this, like, weird, like, it was overly sexualized like drag persona. It really was truly unique and truly unlike anything we'd ever like seen before. And I mean, the trouble is when you have 3 judges like that, like different people have different opinions about it. And I mean, Jimbo gave us some incredible looks. He gave us some incredible performances. When it came down to the final week he went home, I just remember like I don't believe his makeup was great, and like again, we're judging 3 runways. runways, so we kind of had to base it off who had the strongest runways overall for everybody. And Michelle was there that week, and she agreed with everything. She was part of the discussion, obviously. And then it came down to that lip sync, and I just felt like Rita gave it so much more than Jimbo in the lip sync. And it was just one of those things, like, it doesn't mean they're a terrible drag queen. It doesn't mean they're a terrible person. Jimbo is so unique and so iconic, and he was such a huge reason why that first season was such a success. And I mean, I would not be surprised even a little bit if we saw him on All Stars in the future and stuff like that. So this is not the end of the ride for Jimbo. And like, losing is the new winning.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now you're the judge. Now you're doing what can you do?
I can see Jimbo going on All Stars in America, being the first Canadian to go on All Stars and crushing it and stuff like that. So, and if he had won, he wouldn't have been able to do that. You know what I mean? So it was just, I think it was just one of those things. It just didn't work out for us in the end. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean we don't love him. It doesn't mean he's not an incredible drag queen. And look at all the amazing things he's doing now. So.
Exactly. And the winner ends up being Miss Priyanka. And
yes.
Priyanka ended up telling me that back a couple of years ago, I guess, that you were the reason why she auditioned for Drag Race. She said that she says you don't know, she doesn't know if you remember this, but she was performing at a club and you randomly came up to her, she said, and you were like,
get your visa, get on Drag Race. You're the next one. You're the next one. I know it. And then I like blinked and she was gone. I was like, did that just happen?
How does that feel?
I know. That is great. I mean, that's wonderful. I mean, me and Priyanka have never, like, before a couple months ago when we were doing the Canada's Drag Race tour, like, she wasn't a friend of mine. She was just a drag queen I would see in Toronto, like, out at the bars and be like, hey, how are you? How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Like, we never had a conversation. Like, we never really talked on social media. Nothing. It was just like a see her in person type of person. But I remember there was this one night at a bar in Toronto probably like 3 years ago when she was just starting out, and I was like drunk in the bar, and I was like, you're amazing, you know, something special. Keep going. I remember like some like drunk heart I gave her. I remember that vaguely, so maybe that's what she's talking about.
I think that was the drunk heart to heart, because she said that you were talking to her for a while and then you disappeared and she didn't know where you went.
That was probably it. Yeah, I remember sitting at Woody's. I remember what bar I was sitting at, and yeah, I don't know. I was just like, I don't know. I thought she had something special. And I think she does have something special. I think she's kind of that, like, she's just a star. She's a personality. She's just got that like thing. You want to watch her. You want to know more about her. You want to hear her talk. You want to hear what she has to say. Like, she's fun. She's goofy. She's weird. She's wacky, and that's all great. But yeah, it's been nice I've kind of been able to, like, since she's won, like, help her a little bit and, like, kind of take her under my wing, so to speak. Not super motherly, but just kind of be there and, like, help her and give her advice, because I've gone through a lot of the stuff she's going through now, and, like, just with all of a sudden this huge amount of fame and everyone after her and stuff like that. So I don't know what winning's like, but I can help her in other ways. So I'm there for all of the girls. Like, if anybody needs my advice or wants my help with something, I'm more than willing to help them out. I mean, we're all kind of part of this new family, this offspring.
That's actually really extraordinary and really such a cool trait that you're doing, because that is true. I didn't think about that. Like, when you get off this stage, you get off the show, you are going to be hit with the greatest of fans, the craziest of fans, people coming at you, 10 million club promoters, all that stuff. And that's very cool that you are starting to have these little relationships with people like Drunk and just giving advice.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's kind of how you do it. That's how things are passed down. I mean, they'll do it for the girls who come after their season. And, like, I was kind of the first one for all of them that they kind of knew or had, a lot of them had access to. So I just wanted to make sure that they knew I wasn't a monster. And I was a person, and I was there for them, and I was rooting for them, and, like, just that I kind of understood what they were going through, because they do. Done it myself.
And first season is over. Are there any talks, hopes for a second season? Would you come back? Like, what? Give me a little tea. What are you feeling?
I don't know. I think I have not heard anything like affirmative, direct, or anything like that. I am very, just my own personal opinion, I feel very positive that there will be a season 2, just because I know season 1 did so well with ratings, and I think it was the #1 show on Crave, the streaming network it was on, and like people just everywhere were gaga for it. They loved it. So I don't have a doubt that there will be a season 2. When that will be happening, I have no idea about any of that. I assume if I'm asked back for season 2, I will absolutely be back. I assume I am being asked back. Again, I have nothing to refute that. So I think I will be back for season 2, hopefully.
Ow, ow. Would you like to see a permanent host, or did you like the format that you guys had of guest co-host?
I like the format we have. I will say I would love to see. I don't even know. I think it worked well the way it did it before. I would for myself personally, I want to be a little bit more involved in everything. That makes sense. Just because I am the drag queen, a big thing for me is I want to spend more time in the workroom with the girls. Love that. I only got to do it once or twice. I would just love to be in the workroom talking to them a little bit more, because again, I am the one who can relate to them really at that point and like can help give better advice. But I mean, I think it works so well having everyone there together, and it just kind of gave a different, fresh spin on the show. So hopefully I just get to interact with them a little bit more in the workroom would maybe be my home.
I actually agree with that a lot. I think that was the one thing that I felt was just missing in Tad, was that because when they switched you guys off so much, and Jeffrey would be in one time, Stacey be another, you be in another, you guys didn't get that connection that Rue ends up having with the girls. Like that workroom connection, the advice connection, like splitting it all. It's kind of like, you guys only get to see the girls in certain categories in certain episodes.
Yeah, and I think a way of maybe remedying that problem is, because they are very good about splitting all the work up equally between everybody, is maybe having 2 of us at a time go in or something. I don't know, but I would like to kind of get to see the girls a little bit more on that plane next season. But we'll see what happens. I mean, season 1 of a show is like season 1 is always a bit of a gamble. Like you never know what's. There's always, you watch it, there's always lots of things you want to fix and change, but that's how we grow, that's how we get better, that's how we learn about ourselves. I mean, it's all part of the process, like we just gotta keep going with it. That's how I've learned so much about myself, is watching myself on TV and being like, ooh. One thing I will say that we will need for season 2, should there be one, is better lighting.
Okay. I agree with that.
I want a direct spotlight on me at all times.
You need to go the old Barbara Walters route too. Barbara, when she was on The View, always had a light in that desk that did up to the face, so then you're it all.
I need and I want all of it.
Ooh, I hope so. Well, let me ask you another trick that would you ever do? Would you ever do an All-Stars now that you've judged and now that you've been on the show? Or do you feel like All-Stars is something that, you know what, I would never do it?
I don't think I would ever do it. Now, the position I'm in, I just feel like it would be weird. And quite honestly, I don't love competition. Like, I don't love competing myself. Like, it's just right now where I am and what I'm doing, I just don't see myself going back and doing that. I mean, we never say never. So maybe one day, but right now it just is like, no, I'm okay.
It's also like you're already on the top. Like, why do you want to go and put yourself up for something that ends up putting you at the bottom? You don't know where it's going to end.
And with the format the way it is right now, anyways, like the girls are eliminating the girls, so I would have a giant fucking target on my back immediately the moment I walk in there, because like, oh, who does she think she is? She thinks she's like all of that stuff, like. So I'm not trying to put myself in that position right now. I have a great thing going, and I'm very lucky and blessed. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Looking at your time on television, both as a judge, both as a contestant, social media presence, you performing in clubs, what do you think the biggest misconception of Brooke Lynn is?
Oh, that I'm a bitch.
Really? Why is that?
Because I look like a bitch. I do though. I look like a fucking bitch. I get it. I have a bitchy face. I'm tall. Which people equate with intimidating. When I'm in a large room of people, I walk with my blinders on. Because I have social anxiety myself. I'm not one of those people who can pop a door and be like, hey, I'm here. Yes, everybody notice me. I'm very like, I get tunnel vision. So I get that, and I'm very shy when I don't know people, so I'm never the person who goes up and is like, I'm very rare that I start a conversation with somebody or something like that. So I get why people think I'm a bitch. I really am not, though. I can 100% guarantee you at any time if you come up to me and you're like, oh my god, I'm such a fan, or hi, blah, 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 I'm not going to be like, go away. Like, I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to take a picture, I'm going to say thank you so much. Like, I'm not that person, I really promise you. But I know a lot of people, like, I've gotten messages being like, hey, I saw you at the club the other night, I was going to say hi, but you just look like such a bitch.
No, really? People have sent you stuff like that?
Yeah, you just look really bitchy. And I was like, that's just my face, though.
Yeah, you're like, sorry.
It is what it is. But I just think that's a common misconception for me, that I'm like a bitch and I'm very standoffish and stuff. And I get it because I look that way, but it's just like me in my shell.
Your time in drag and doing drag, what makes you the happiest about doing drag?
Taking it off.
Okay.
I love, it's weird because it's like drag is such an evolution. You're constantly, one of my favorite things about drag is the fact that you're just constantly learning more about yourself. There's always a new trick to learn. There's always a new trend. There's always something fun to try. So you're just constantly learning and like evolving and growing. So I think like right now what makes me happiest, or like at least like when I used to be able to perform for people, is I don't love dancing anymore. Like, people think of me as the dancer, as the ballerina, and I was that, but like that was a long time ago. Like, I haven't been a professional dancer in almost a decade now. And what I love doing now, like what gets me my life in drag, is being on a stage and just performing the shit out of a ballad or something like that. Like, just a song I really love that I can just actually just really perform and not have to worry about the anxiety. Because the whole time I'm dancing, I'm thinking in my head, this looks like shit. I look like shit. This is horrible. It's just that whole like that, because I know I'm not at the shape I used to be. So there's always all the wheels are always turning. So it just became stressful for me and not fun. And I still do it once in a while when I feel like it, but I just love performing a ballad, a good old power ballad, and people love them.
Yeah.
And I was always like, thought I had to dance, but I'm slowly kind of starting to like turn myself more into a ballad queen, because I mean it's just more fun for me, and it's just honestly really brings me so much enjoyment to do like a beautiful emotional song and just like serve it to the audience in a beautiful outfit.
I actually like that a whole lot. I've always told my friends, if I were to ever do drag, which would be never, I would only want to perform Enya songs, because I think it would just be such the most random thing in the world, and just make it like, yeah, exactly. It'd be the most random thing.
I live
right.
I live for that. I'm actually thinking about I'm going to, when the world gets back to normal. I'm going to produce a tour called The Night of 1,000 Ballads, where it's a whole tour, a whole show, a whole night full of just power ballads.
And power bottoms at the same time.
Power ballads and power bottoms. I mean,
I love that.
I love it too. I think it'd be so great because you can still serve an amazing show, an amazing entertaining show without dancing. I mean, you look at like someone like, I'm always very inspired by someone like Sasha Velour and her Smoke and Mirrors show. She doesn't dance a lick in that show, but it's an hour and a half long and you're riveted the whole time. So I love that, and that was very inspiring for me, because a lot of times I felt I had to dance. Like, the only way I was entertaining is if I did dance, and that's just not the case.
And if you could explore the world for one day in another drag queen's shoes, past or present, who would you choose?
If I could be another drag queen for a day, who would I be? I want to be Valentina.
Ooh.
I want to know what it's like to feel that fantasy. I want to know. I want to be in her head and know what it's like to be Valentina. I think that'll be fun because I don't know another queen who feels her own fantasy as hard as Valentina. And you have to. That's the thing. Like, this is an illusion. If you are not feeling your fantasy and you are not feeling yourself, how can you expect anybody else to feel you?
Exactly.
And it's you just have to. And she feels it. And I live.
I think that's a really good choice, and nobody's ever said that. And now that you say that, I'm like, I really do want to know what goes on in her head. Like, what is Valentina like?
Yeah, completely. Her or Alyssa Edwards. I want to know what goes on in that head too.
So, what is next for Brooke Lynn Hytes?
Well, you'll just have to stay tuned and see. I mean, there are some things in the works, some very exciting things I have coming up that I can't talk about right now because contracts have not been signed and yada, 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 yada. But yeah, there are some very cool things happening that I'm very excited about that are very my own baby, I guess you could say, my own thing that's like kind of evolving. And it's going to be really cool. So I can't wait I'll have to come back on here and talk about it with you.
Yes.
When it's kind of evolved a little bit more and I'm allowed to say something.
Yes, I can't wait. So as we close this out, my last question to you is, what is a message or words of wisdom that you have for the LGBTQIA+ community?
Philosophical as shit. Okay. Wash your hands, wear a mask. Especially right now, take care of each other, watch out for each other. We're kind of entering a very scary time, a transition of power, it would seem, fingers crossed. But like, I suspect there's going to be a lot of hate crimes and stuff coming up just with that, especially in the US. Like, I feel like the Trump supporters are really going to start targeting our community. So I would just say, please watch out for each other. If you see something, say something. And just kind of have an eye out, and everybody has to really, really take care of each other right now.
I think that's very important. I think that we sometimes, as a community, forget that there are still people who do not like us and that are homophobes, and we can surround ourselves with all the positivity in the world, but outside of our bubble, there can be so much negativity, and we need to sometimes take off those blinders and just realize what is around us.
Completely. I completely agree. I mean, especially like we're being in California, we're a little bit luckier because it's quite I keep saying liberal because that's the Canadian word, quite a democratic state, but it also is quite liberal out here. But yeah, just especially if you live in a red state or somewhere that is not as accepting, just please take care of yourself.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Brooke Lynn Hytes, for being here and exposing yourself. Now, where can everybody find you on the socials?
B Heights on Twitter, B Heights1 on Instagram. I just disabled my Facebook because I couldn't fucking deal. I really did. And I've done it like 5 times this year. I've just deactivated my Facebook for a good 2 weeks and been like, I can't people anymore. Because I know if I'm on it, I will look at it. So I was like, I just have to cancel it.
And are you on Cameo?
I am on Cameo. It's the link on my Instagram profile. I don't know the thing for it right now. And yeah, so I'm on that, and I think I might be on Drag for Fans soon, which is like OnlyFans for drag queens.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
Are you just gonna do straight drag, or would you ever expose that booty you've exposed before?
That booty. Well, I might put there's so many ass pictures on my Instagram. I don't see myself doing like full porn because I just couldn't take myself seriously. Like me, no. Obviously it's not very my brand and kind of the world I'm rolling in right now. I don't know how they would feel about it, but good for you if you do porn. That's awesome. Just not really for me. I can't really imagine. I'm just trying to picture myself now doing it. It's funny. It's not, no. But I don't think I will ever do full out porn, but yeah, maybe I'll do like a cute little like naked ass shot or something. Let's see.
Yeah, especially if it's done tastefully and you have like a really good setup. Why not, you know?
Why not? Yeah.
All right, guys. So if you comment below, one of you will be selected randomly. I'm going to be gifting you a cameo from Miss Brooke Lynn. So put a comment below. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and one person will be selected by next Thursday for you guys to win a potential cameo. Comment your favorite part of the interview. What did you like about Brooke Lynn? I mean, this mug is beautiful. So comment below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, like, and all of that beautiful stuff. I'm Joseph Shepard, and that's the beautiful Miss Brooke Lynn Hytes.
Hello.